Hello there, loyal listeners. My name is Noah Conley, and welcome to the first episode of my new podcast, Through the Looking Glass. Today I am joined by Bryson Sphere.
Hello there.
And my father, Keith Conley.
Hello.
Yes, today we are going to be discussing a very local urban legend, very close to where we live, within 10 miles at least. Would you agree, Dad?
Yeah, I would say it's probably closer than that. It's probably within 5 miles of where we live.
The legend we are referring to is the multiple legends and rumors surrounding a mysterious road, Patterson Road to be exact. And today we're going to be discussing this road, the legends surrounding it, and why it might be haunted. You guys excited for this?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I know I am. So,
All right.
explain the history of this road and why it's haunted, because that's going to be one thing that we need to analyze before we start going into real depth.
I shall. Okay. These are my notes as to the topic of Patterson Road. Patterson Road runs from North Eldridge Parkway to Highway 6, forming the southern border of Bear Creek Pioneers Park. There are multiple legends surrounding this road, but we will focus on the main aspect of it. The one big thing that everyone agrees is a big part of how the strange things that happen on this road. And as to why this place is supposedly haunted. So, Dad, you've been living in this area for about how long?
I've been living in this area since 1989.
Okay, so very long time. So how long has the stories surrounding Patterson Road been around? Like when you arrived here, were they a big deal, or had they like recently just been a big deal?
No, I think the legends of around Patterson Road probably were here before I was. It seemed to be one of those things that, teenagers would pass around. You'd hear about at school, things like that. I don't know that I've ever heard adults, like my parents or anything like that, really discussing kind of the legends around Patterson Road. It was mainly kind of a thing that was shared, with kids, junior high, high school type thing.
So basically, it was just sort of just a little gag kind of thing.
Well, no, I think it would fit more into kind of like the urban legend type things.
Yeah.
Kind of one of those things that get spread around. And it kind of turns into an urban legend, whether there's a lot of fact behind it or not. It's kind of becomes it kind of gets its own momentum and becomes its own thing.
I see. Okay. So first, we need to discuss why Patterson Road is considered haunted and some of the strange things that happen in that area. So, some very strange things have been recorded to happen on that road and the immediate area surrounding it. For example, the biggest deal when it comes to this entire thing is that it's said that if you park your car on the bridge that's on the road that goes over Langham Creek and you turn off everything, lights, engines, all that stuff, you have to park your car, you have to wait on the bridge. But if you turn off everything, supposedly strange things will happen. You will hear tapping on your door and all over the car.
We would like to say that stopping on a road in the middle of the road and shutting your lights off at night is a dangerous thing that we are not recommending you do.
We are not recommending it, but people have done it.
People have done it.
People have done it, and these are the things that are supposed to happen. Look, you're tapping all over your car, and mysterious fog or mist will completely surround your car, just the immediate area.
Yeah, the mist thing I've heard about with other photographs taken within the park boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of people taking pictures near there. I think there's a couple cemeteries near there within the park boundaries, and I think one of them is actually called Blue Light Cemetery, or it's known as the name of Blue Light Cemetery. And it has supposedly a spooky blue glow at night. But I've heard the mist and stuff in photos before.
Yeah. But this isn't just in photos. This is in real life. If you park your car and turn off the lights, just like I said.
Like this heavy mist will come in?
Not heavy mist. I mean, I've looked at accounts, and accounts vary when it comes to this sort of thing. But a lot of them say that a mist, up to the very top of your wheels at least, will surround your car. just like lightness. It depends. Like it
At
could,
that point, people are freaking out.
yeah,
Yeah,
At that
at that point, I would have already driven off.
Yeah, at that point, people are putting the lights on and taking off.
I would have floored it already. I would have been, oh no.
Yeah, once it looks like my car is floating in a cloud of mist, I'm taking off. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Oh well, if you think that's like the takeoff point, listen to this. Very few of the accounts, not many. I'm going to say like 2 out of 10 report seeing strange, pale, ghostly figures will start shambling towards the car.
Oh no.
Again.
I'm out.
This is like probably 2 out of 10, or maybe like 2 out of 20. Like the odds of this actually happening to you vary according to accounts.
You know, like when you have a car that's hot,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you shut your car off, your car is going to make all kinds of tapping and noises and stuff as the muffler cools, as the catalytic converter cools, as the engine starts to cool. Your car is going to make noises. I wonder if some of the people that are out there, they're shutting off a hot car and they're contributing some of that natural noise their car makes to like tapping. Yeah, because they're scared, it's dark, they're excited. Maybe some of that thing that's going on with their car could be what they're reporting.
I mean, yeah, a lot of skeptics agree on that point, Dad. But
Oh, so am I classified as a skeptic now because I brought that up?
no, you don't technically classify unless you straight out and admit that you don't really believe in that sort of deal.
That's me. I'm straight up.
Yeah.
I'm a skeptic.
Yes, you could say I am pretty much the Mulder to Dad's skeptic. I don't truly believe in it, but I'm willing to investigate.
I think sometimes when people are investigating or are excited about like this kind of thing, I wonder if sometimes our subconscious doesn't, make us hear things or make us contribute noises to. Because I think there's a subconscious, you want to see something or you want something to happen.
Yeah, you're expecting something to happen. You've heard all these stories in your subconscious. It's like, I'm ready to see this. I'm ready to see what happens. But back to this mist thing. That's one thing that really gets me thinking because
I mean, like, how could that sort of anomaly occur? What makes that anomaly happen?
Like, I can get maybe a bit of mist. Like, I've seen a lot late at night or early in the morning, so there's a lot of mist. So I can understand that. But just coming out randomly and only to that level, that just doesn't seem very right. It just doesn't seem very likely to happen. Normally the mist is very high, but when it's only up to your wheels or such, that means that something's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, all right. So we have discussed the things that can happen.
But have we thought about here comes the skeptic again.
Okay.
Have we thought about so you're on I don't know if you guys, neither one of you probably been down Patterson Road. Patterson Road, there's no real lights. It's a very dark road. If you're on Patterson Road, it's the middle of the night, it's dark, and you have your lights off. Could you really see? I mean, wouldn't it be hard to see mist?
I've gone online and I have read it.
Because everything online is true.
Okay.
Yeah, we've definitely learned that, especially when people were microwaving their iPhones.
What you got?
Okay, so I've read several accounts of people who have done this thing, like gone out to the Langham Creek Bridge on Patterson Road and parked their cars and just wait for something to happen. And apparently in those accounts, they have flashlights on in their car.
Oh, that's interesting.
They have flashlights. Apparently,
that would make sense.
Yeah, apparently the one main thing when it comes to Patterson Road is to turn off everything in the actual car. Apparently, flashlights and that sort of deal, and headlamps and all that, are all right. It says you have to turn off literally everything in the car, lights, engine, everything.
But I wonder if that has as much to do with noise as it does anything else.
Yeah.
So
you could actually hear. If you check the engine off, the air conditioning off, all those things off, so you could hear whatever's going on.
Well,
so I could basically have my phone out, have the flashlight on and everything, and a bunch of different lights, and that'd be fine, but everything in the car has to be turned off, engine lights, everything.
Apparently, yes. Apparently, that's the main deal when it comes to the legends. All right. So now we are going to discuss as to why Patterson Road may be haunted.
All right, now we're getting into the deep and juicy stuff.
Okay. The first theory is the theory that a Civil War battle happened in the southeastern part of where Bear Creek Pioneers Park is today.
Do we know that from like historical fact?
Yeah,
Or-
like do we have
Or is
any?
it, yeah, do we have any evidence of that?
Well, I have gone through. Well, like you have to understand that record keeping from that era is spotty. They didn't really know how to keep records that well defined yet. But I have gone through Harris County records, and I can't seem to find anything about an actual major battle.
I think if you travel through the South, so if you go through the South, and even the North, I think that a lot of times, I don't know how you want to term it, paranormal stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the easiest kind of the fallback position is Civil War battlefield.
Oh yeah.
You know, like anything that happens, you just contribute to Civil War battlefield. There was probably a Civil War battlefield right here. Whether it's just you have to have some kind of historical documentation, or at least troop movements or something like that. But I think too often we contribute Civil War era battlefield, or they had wounded Civil War soldiers in this building who died.
That they just left behind.
There's a lot.
That seems
It's
to be
like a fallback position.
Yeah, that's kind of like a.
When in doubt, blame it on the Civil War.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When you're not sure, it's like, oh, there's a ghost here. It has to be Civil War. Has to be Civil War. Nothing else can happen here.
Right.
It's actually kind of funny. Like, you're right. In the Deep South, most paranormal stuff is attributed to things from the era of the Civil War. But, I've researched stuff located in the North, like at least north of Virginia. I've researched several stories from, like, north of Virginia. And a lot of them don't seem to have a whole lot to do with the Civil War. So I think in the Deep South, I don't know why this happened.
It's kind of our fallback.
That's just kind of our thing.
Hey, I saw a two-headed dog. Probably a Civil War thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I did go through historical records, and I couldn't really find any records of a truly major battle happening on the site where Bear Creek Park is today. Now,
do we have a minor battle, or
actually, I'm getting
somebody stubbed their toe near the bridge?
Someone's gun misfired and hit a tree or something.
Actually, I'm starting to get into that. Okay, so I went through Harris County historical records, and back when Texas was voting to secede from the Union, there were a lot of German settlers in this area, and they all voted against secession. Apparently, there was, some violence between, like, those who wanted to secede and those who didn't want to secede. Fisticuffs, some shots were fired.
What year was this?
This was back when Texas and pretty much all the South was voting to secede from the Union.
So
pre-Civil War.
Yeah,
Pre-Civil War, technically.
Okay.
All right.
But there's also another possibility. So where Bear Creek Park is could have been like some sort of like early shantyville or settlement or whatever, and there could have been some violence, and some people could have died maybe, and that could be the cause of the haunting.
Some redneck pulled.
Do we know that? Yeah. Do we know if in the Civil War, do we even know if Northern soldiers penetrated Texas this deep into?
There is the Battle of Galveston, so they did manage to go all the way to Galveston.
True.
And there were several battles throughout Texas, none too major except for Galveston. But
I'm pretty sure that the Monitor, the first ironclad ship, I believe it was sent down into the south around Texas.
I don't think it was around Texas. I believe they were trying to blockade a port in Virginia or South Carolina, and that's when the first ironclad battle happened.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones, but it was still in service after that.
True.
I've read up a lot of books on that. I know my Civil War naval history kind of well, and I'm pretty sure it was around there or something like that. But that could be one thing. But other than the Battle of Galveston, I don't think Union soldiers really went this far into the South because, they had already wiped most of it.
If those who have taken U.S. history recall, the Confederacy won the Battle of Galveston. They managed to repel the Union from actually making landfall in Texas. We still got blockaded, but the Union never really made landfall. And technically, the very last battle of the Civil War, the Battle of Palmyra Ranch, was fought in Texas, but this was months after the surrender at the courthouse because word of mouth didn't travel all that fast. So they
Yeah,
could. So
people-
they didn't. So for months after the Civil War, people didn't know it was over. So there was still some scattered fighting, and that leads into another theory. The theory that what could have been the battle at where Bear Creek Park is now today was actually one of those minor skirmishes. Either sometime during the Civil War, like two companies ran into each other, like two minor units ran into each other and had a skirmish, and some of them may have died on the site, which could contribute to hauntings. Or this was one of the skirmishes after the Civil War had actually already ended, which basically, yeah, two minor unions ran into each other, and some people may have died where Patterson Road is today. So yeah,
But really, that's all speculation.
it is speculation.
Because there's really nothing to.
The Union Army, neither army, especially the Confederacy, didn't keep good records of when and where battles happened. So while there is a very good possibility that a skirmish may have happened where Bear Creek Park is today, there's also another good possibility that this was just like the cause of bad record keeping, and some people think there's a skirmish when really nothing too bad happened there.
Yeah, that is always a possibility because also around that time is when everything was starting to change for warfare. Like they were starting to make dog tags because they didn't keep good records, especially of their soldiers. So we're still trying to get into that. That's one thing, but I can kind of see some things coming together now with all these minor skirmishes and stuff. But I want to know just how many eyewitness accounts that can actually be accounted for because it could all just be, especially these white shambling figures like that you mentioned earlier. It can always be something like teenagers or something.
Yeah, but
right?
the ghost that people are like the tapping is supposed to be contributed to soldiers from both sides who died at whatever kind of skirmish might have happened where Bear Creek Park is.
Right, so really the premise of the entire
Yes,
urban legend is the Civil War angle.
Yes, the entire the entire angle on the Patterson Road urban legends has to do with the Civil War. Either like there's some sort of skirmish, major battle, some refuge between anti-secessionists and secessionists, or like maybe some people like a company was going through there and some like wounded dudes died. Maybe I mean anything's possible at this point when it comes to Patterson Road. I like it. So far, with some of the theories we've analyzed on this show, it seems as though, like, as long as someone may have died, like, basically with the Patterson Road legend, if there was like some sort of skirmish or battle, or who knows, maybe like they were just, like I said earlier, there were just like some people walking through and some wounded dudes died where Bear Creek Park is. Yeah, as long as people may have died, the whole context of the Patterson Road legend, some people died there during the Civil War, and now it's haunted. So yeah. So that's the Patterson Road urban legend, and who knows, maybe one day we'll manage to find records or something to prove if anything really ever happened on that site. But until then, this mystery as to why these strange things happen to people who go out there is completely unsolved.
I would agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I see that we still have some time, so I had another legend prepared to discuss in case we had a little bit more time left.
Ooh, yay, round two.
Yes, and this one is extremely weird. This is more weird than Civil War ghosts or strange haunted bridges or anything like that. This is the tale of the Houston Batman.
What is it? Just
What?
Is it
That's
just
some dude in a costume.
It's a
He went
nice-
to Party City. He got a costume and he ran around the
I
street.
don't know.
I think that's
Or is he
a-
like half bat, half man, like
Half bat, half man.
with leathery wings and everything?
Yes.
So basically, like a
Okay,
man
go on,
bat.
go on,
So
okay.
basically, like a
Lay
man bat.
this on.
So basically, we're talking
Yeah, let's
like
call him the man bat, not
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that,
like the
I get the image
Houston,
of some guy at Party City with a
Yeah.
boomerang.
yeah, Houston Batman sounds like what some college buddies would
Yeah,
call their drunk friends.
Yes.
They get him in a Batman costume. Look, it's Houston Batman.
Yeah, or just some guy standing on top of a parking garage on his way to a costume party. And people like, So let's call him the ManBat because this is way more interesting.
All right.
The idea of the
Houston
half
ManBat.
human, half bat thing is
All right. The
Yes.
Houston. All right. So, all in favor of renaming this legend the Houston ManBat? Raise your hands.
Yeah.
firmly.
Yeah,
I'm,
right.
I'm in that camp.
Since
big
you
time.
guys, since
Yeah, although I would like to see the first one. I would love to hear
Alright.
about that.
since you guys couldn't see, we all pretty much raised our hands unanimously to call it the Houston ManBat. All right. So.
So yeah, let's get into this.
All right, here we go. The time is 2:30 a.m., June 18th, 1953, in the Houston Heights.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah,
There
were multiple eyewitnesses to this event. So we had, and this was front page news in the Houston Chronicle the very next day. So
This was front page in the Chronicle.
yes, back like June 19th, 1953.
So do we have? So that would exist. We could
Yes.
go back and physically
we
see
could-
that.
Yes,
So I can just Google it up in my phone and.
yes, you could. They actually, the Houston Chronicle actually has a link on their website where you can go, back and read the actual article discussing the Houston ManBat.
Do they have photographic evidence?
I don't believe they have photographic evidence.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Again,
go ahead. Go ahead.
what year was this?
This was 1953.
Oh yeah, back then cameras weren't exactly as.
Yes.
portable.
Okay, so I only managed to get 2 names of the 3 witnesses to this event: Hilda Walker and Howard Phillips. I couldn't find the name of the 3rd person who witnessed this.
Okay.
Okay, so Hilda Walker, Howard Phillips, and the 3rd unnamed person, we'll call him Steve for now. They were all sitting on their front porch, and they all lived in the Houston Heights. And they were sitting there drinking their drinks and all that sort of deal.
Were the drinks alcoholic?
I have no idea if they're
Yeah.
It
alcoholic.
might
Yeah.
affect her. You know,
Yeah, like were they
half man, half bat. It could have just been Bruce from down the street.
Yeah,
walking
were
his dog or
they
something.
were they downing too much
Let's see.
moonshine and
What do we
saw
got?
some hairy
Okay, so
guy?
keep
walking
going.
All
around?
right,
Keep
here we
going.
go. Here we go. All right, I'm going.
All right.
So Hilda and Howard and Steve, which is what we're calling the 3rd unnamed person who witnessed this, were all sitting at their front porch at 2:30 a.m. and they all lived together in the Houston Heights.
Okay.
They were sitting there talking, and then Hilda, while Howard and Steve were talking, looked out at her lawn and she noticed a large shadow moving across the lawn. Like sort of just scuttling, like. And,
It was on the ground, or this?
yeah, it was on all fours, sort of scuttling right now.
Okay.
And then it went and stood up on its 2 hind legs, so it looked like a man now.
All right.
Now, the Houston ManBat was described as a very tall man, about 6.5 feet tall, with bat-like wings attached to his back, very like leathery, bat wings like leathery. And he had arms, and the wings were just separate, the wings weren't his arms like a regular
Okay,
bat.
so kind of like a gargoyle.
So
Yeah.
if he kind of folded the wings in, he could have just walked around like a normal dude.
Well, yeah, if he could have found a way to conceal the wings under some clothing, like Angel from X-Men, then yeah, sure, I guess.
All right.
Now,
Did they recognize the dude, like somebody from the neighborhood?
they did not recognize him because, get this,
Oh hey Jerry.
all 3 witnesses described this Batman, once he stood
Excuse
up,
me?
ManBat.
ManBat.
Yeah, thank you.
Once he stood up, he became encased in a glowing halo of light. Literally, it seemed like he was generating this halo of light. It's what the 3 witnesses described.
I'm surprised then if that's what they described, that they didn't kind of subscribe to it being an angel or something like that. Why they would say ManBat?
Because the reason.
Because typically you see, you hear people go count on a halo or
Yes.
blinding light or something being like angelic or something like
Because-
that.
Maybe
This was because of several reasons. One, they said that the person was sort of wearing sort of normal clothing. Apparently this person had at least some clothing on. It was sort of normal clothing, not flowing white robes like in holy images.
No, I hear you.
And they described the shape of the wings as bat wings, not bird wings, also associated with angels.
Did they say how big the wings were? If the guy was 6'6", I mean, I'm 6'4". That's 2 inches taller than me.
Well.
That's a big dude. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes some big wings to get that dude off the ground.
Well, 50 years after this, I read an article from 2013 where the Houston Chronicles was reanalyzing this whole deal. And they were talking with a professional cryptozoologist, someone who studies cryptids, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and goes in and investigates these sort of things. And he said that if it was bat wings, okay, and if the Houston ManBat was 6'6", the wingspan would have had to been 18 feet from tip to tip.
So that's 9 feet of wings.
Like
Exactly.
Like that could.
That's monstrous. That would stretch across someone's yard.
I know, but if we take like an ordinary bat that's near the Houston, like the ones that are underneath those bridges and go
The wall?
whoosh, yeah, like the Wall Street Bridge.
Right.
If we took bats like those and took the proportions of the bat and matched of like that size, like the size of the bat's body to wing size, and we took that ratio and applied it to someone who is 6'6", the wingspan would have had to have been 18 feet from tip to tip.
So I guess, did anybody see him fly?
No.
So it could be that the wings were undersized and
Yes.
we don't necessarily have to say he was capable of flight.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
what happened? Okay, so what happened next was he went from like one side of the yard, went to about the mill, did the whole halo thing, and then like the three people on the porch were just sort of staring. You know, they were frozen.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
This very well could have been like an angel or something.
Well,
If not for the bat wings.
Well,
If not for the bat wings.
Yeah.
yeah, I
If
mean,
not for the 18-foot wide bat wings.
I mean, if normally leathery wings are associated with demons and stuff because like angels.
Well, but I guess
beautiful
what was he doing?
creatures.
What was he doing in the lawn in the
Yeah.
beginning? Was he grazing? Was he eating something?
I
Was
mean,
he-
like was there some sort of like
Was our
lamb carcass
yeah,
or something?
something
You
in
know?
the yard?
No, apparently he was just sort of, like scudding things, sort of thing stood up on the side legs, halo thing, and then what happened next was he was like standing still while they were looking in the halo thing. So he ran like to the other side of the yard, and then the halo, and then like the halo was gone, and then like they got up, and now that it was gone, they all got up on the porch and ran over to where the man bat had run, and there was no sign that anyone.
So
had
was it kind of like a flashbang?
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
that old adage of boom, bright light. I can't see when you open your eyes. Whatever it was is gone.
Yeah, I guess it could have been like a flashbang, like similar to a flashbang.
But you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you say, that's the old trick book, shine a flashlight in somebody's face, and I'm blinded. When they open their eyes, you're gone.
Yeah, sort of like a poof. Houdini.
Yeah.
Now, like to this day, there are some people who go out to the heights looking for this thing, like trying to see these flying through the sky and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, you might find one of them.
I mean, when this was on the front page of the Chronicle back in 1953, people were going out to the heights trying to find this thing.
I'm just telling you right now.
Yes.
If there's a 6'6" dude with 18-foot wingspan flying over my neighborhood, I'm selling my house.
I'm grabbing my stuff.
That would be like a small airplane. I mean, yeah, I'm selling my house, man. I'm out. I'm gone.
I don't even need to sell my house.
There's a rat. I mean, that's like an 18-foot wingspan man bat.
Like I wouldn't
in
even.
the neighborhood.
I wouldn't even sell my house. I'd take the clothes that I have on my back and I'd run.
Flee for your life.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
Yes.
I've lived here this whole life and I did not know that.
Well, yeah, people have mostly forgotten about it because literally this was the only appearance anyone ever saw of the man bat ever. We have no other recordings of anyone.
Do you think it could have been like a guy?
It could have been
come home from a costume party. What day? What month of the year was it?
This was June 18th.
Of 1953.
So I can't.
It wasn't around Halloween. It
wasn't around Halloween. The closest major holiday was Juneteenth, which is
July 4th.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, Juneteenth is like when is the celebration of when all the slaves in Texas were released because the Civil War had ended.
Correct. But I was thinking if it was in October 24th or something, maybe he was an early Halloween party.
Yeah, if it was like within a week, or maybe like if it was a week before, if it was in the time frame of a week before, a week after Halloween, then yeah, this could have been some doing in costume. But this was June 18th, and Juneteenth isn't really an occasion to dress up in a bat costume.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and these people, they're living in 1950.
Did they say are there? They talked about the leathery wings and all that. Is there any discussion about like size or?
They didn't really give a specific size, but like I said, the cryptozoologist said if the man was that tall, he would have had to have his wingspan of 18 feet.
But again, that's if flight was possible.
Yes.
I mean, it's very flight might not have been possible. So.
All right. So
it's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it's an incredibly interesting story because this is the only record we have of anyone ever seeing the ManBat. This is the only time anyone ever saw anything remotely like this in the Heights.
Well, that's one thing that I always think of as credibility is because you hear all these like thousands of, oh, I've seen a Loch Ness monster, oh, I've seen Bigfoot, but sometimes if the fewer they are, the more likely it is because there's less kooks out there.
Yeah, and this should be okay. So, and by your logic, this should be the most credible paranormal story ever because we literally have one account of this happening.
I mean, I guess by that logic, yeah.
I think a lot of this stuff can usually be cleared up by some sound scientific investigation and all of that. But with something like this, a one-time viewing, few people on their porch, until the ManBat makes another appearance, I doubt you're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, do people crawl the Heights looking for the ManBat's lair?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if these people might even still be alive because I'm not
Most likely
like
not.
these people. If they were they were probably like 30 something, so they would have to be octogenarians now. They would have to be like 80 something.
Well, that's very possible.
Yeah, that is very possible.
Or now, if they were in their late 50s or 60s in the 1950s,
yeah, then they're long gone now.
Yeah, they would be. But if they were 30 somethings, something like that, it would still be possible for them to be around.
Yeah.
Interesting story.
Yeah, and one thing that also I'd like to point out is how it probably wouldn't have been like some drunk person because if it was only one person, his drink might have been moonshine or something like that.
Yeah, he might have been at a bar or two in the night.
But I mean, it's unlikely that
all three people.
Yeah, all three of these people were just slamming something.
So what about if all three of the people were just trying to draw up some publicity and get famous?
Well, I don't know. That could very well be a possibility. You see all these people in the news saying, I saw a UFO, and it's usually just to get on the local news. But, I mean,
it's a pretty original story.
Yes.
Yeah, the ManBat thing is a little more original than.
Yes.
I saw an alien spaceship. What did it look like, sir? It was round. It had flashing lights on it.
I saw it out in my backyard.
That's not real original.
Yeah.
I was out on my front porch. I saw it in the yard.
The ManBat thing is a pretty original thing.
Yeah. Another thing, some people think that this was like some sort of hallucination, but I did research into this. And shared hallucinations, even with two people,
incredibly rare.
Yeah.
They would both have to be explained. Like there's like so many factors that would have to be just right in order for this to work.
Yeah, so it couldn't have been a hallucination. So we've narrowed it down to a couple things. It's one, a guy in a costume, which is very, very unlikely.
Or this could have been some super mutation. This was the Cold War, so maybe like the Russians sent it over.
Yeah, it wasn't like extreme radiation all over the Houston area.
Yeah, this
start converting people in the Heights to ManBat.
Yeah, this isn't some scientist like breeding, like mixing human and bat DNA to create the perfect
We never
monster.
know.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll never know.
So I think we've narrowed it down to news, attention seeking,
or
some kind of weird
mutation, or just like some weird thing that just happened.
Weird circumstance.
Yeah, weird circumstance.
Okay.
All right. Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for this episode of Through the Looking Glass. I would like to say thank you to both Bryce and my dad for deciding to appear on the first episode of this new podcast I'm doing.
My pleasure.
Thank you, both of you. And I hope we can do more of these in the future because, as we all know, there are very strange stories lurking out there.
Especially some more recently that we could also cover.
Yes. So I definitely hope that we can continue this series. Please like this podcast if you wish for us to continue the series. And also please subscribe to my channel. I post lots of awesome stuff regularly. So yeah, just subscribe.
Yep.
And I would like to say goodbye, loyal listeners, and good night.